is Mali with Donzo and Javelin good against this? I think so, because if you think about the javelins are going to deal with those archers like bop, 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 and the Donzos can also deal with the archers. So no, I think Malians could actually destroy this. So a lot of players are struggling against Tughlaq. And I think at lower ranks, this is going to be very overwhelming. Most people are not going to be able to handle Tughlaq in the early game in Feudal. And the moment you get through Feudal, you're okay. So what I did here, with the Sangoku, I think it's a lot easier. Because with Sangoku, you have the opportunity to get your passive food sources. So with the Sangoku build, this is just a general build that I'm going to do, but I want to talk about general gameplay. So the Tughlaq dynasty is in a position where they can make those healer elephants and they just completely overwhelm you. Now, a lot of people have been saying, just make archers. Now, archers are a great answer and you are going to need to make those, but you have to consider that you cannot be too greedy, but at the same time, you need to have a little bit of a balance. So with Sangoku, I go for 2 Yatais against Tughlaq specifically, and we're gonna just go see what I'm doing. So if I'm playing HRE or anything that has an inspiration building that you want to keep safe, this is very important. Make sure it's not too far out. Any building that you build outside is gonna get destroyed. Like this house, it's dead because it reaches outside here. So the moment you play against Tughlaq, you have to keep in mind that you are going to be at a disadvantage in the early game, but just in the early game. So with this guy, basically what I did is I did my usual build, and I had to make sure that I have my Yatais both on very spicy food sources because I know what's coming. What's coming is the Dome of the Faith. And with the timing that they usually have, they can start queuing up an elephant instantly. Now, I know this is going to mean that I need to make a production building now. And for me, I wanted to scout and see exactly what he was doing. If I see he's opening with an archery range, I cannot open with spears. If he's opening with a stable, you open with spears. Now, you're going to transition into archers, but you need to get a bunch of spears and you need to get them quickly. That's why I already have enough wood to make a barracks in the Dark Age. So with archery range here coming out, I know all I need to do is make more archers. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. I get my next Yatai, my 3rd Yatai, because I know this guy is not going to do too much. But now I need to start thinking about archery range. Now, already I've made a mistake. This Matsuri was on a tiny wood line. If I put it in this position, I think it would have been in a better spot for me. But now I have to deal with this. And that's okay. I'm now playing it like a normal civilization. Now you don't have that bonus that you usually get from this. But just like I said with that house, the moment the house is outside the range, you are going to lose it. So this is important for you. And you see with these archers, I'm barely tickling them. I don't actually even need to waste my time here. What I need to be doing is I need to move my units out here and pick off the reinforcements. But I need to make sure I don't lose my elephants. I try to keep the house up as long as possible so that he's occupied. And I tell myself, okay, I'm not going to do anything with this. Let me go pick off some of the reinforcements. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Because what makes them weak in the early game, the early game, is the fact that they've just spent 280 resources on 2 elephants. And this is so expensive. Oh, I say 200. Oh, yes. It just has a gold discount. Wow, 305 resources on elephants. And that is an insane amount of resources. In my case, I spent that on 3 Yatais and getting a bunch of units out. So I'm starting to be annoying, but I can't move out. And you can see I can still not kill this, but I'm keeping them occupied. And what I want to do is I want to keep an eye here on the back. The moment more reinforcements come, this is when I need to react. So because they are also a very hungry civilization, they're making these very expensive elephants, they are going to need a lot of food. So with that, it gives you the knowledge that, hey, I'm going to be able to do something as long as I can raid these food sources. So this is now, when I'm in this position, I need to make horsemen. And I need to ask myself, where is he going to be? So, because he's invested this many resources into these elephants, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. You can see I've rallied my units here, and I'm going to look for some damage. But he perfectly rotates and intercepts them. Now, what would have been better is if I had a few spearmen, but I thought he was making archers. He just never ended up making enough archers. Now, he might not know that I know this, and I should be busy with my Coca Township. But again, like a general civilization, this is going to be pretty hard to handle. Now, you can see I got +1 attack, and all of a sudden, these traits are actually going to start meaning something. The third elephant arrives, and with all of these archers, you are eventually going to be able to kill them. But if this is not just an elephant-only strategy, you can make spearmen, and you can kill these very, very quickly. The moment you have a few spears in here, this becomes very easy to do. The moment they start making units and putting them in the middle, you ignore the elephants completely and you just pick off the units. Because with this amount of archers, you can one-shot the units. And you see, sometimes I lose my control here. And now with the spearman, as I have now realized he's not making enough archers, I start to make spears. But you can see, this spearman gets picked off, but I get more information. He's going for the raider elephants. The correct response, because he sees I only have archers. So very quickly, I have 2 barracks and I'm queuing up more spears. Because I know this is going to get out of hand. Now for now, I'm still not in a good spot. I'm going to be cooked if I don't find a way to kill some of his units. So, like I said, instead of making that extra barracks, I could have just made a stable. And I could have been raiding out here. The moment I start raiding, he falls apart completely. That's the moment you get a little bit of breathing room. And that's what he is giving me at the same time too. Now with barracks, you only want to make a few spears. Because of course, spears are going to deal with your raider elephants, but they are going to die to archers. What's going to happen next is though, I am going to need to make the bonk boys. So the bonk boys are great for Sangoku, but for other civilizations, just make more archers, add more spears, and you need to make sure your micro is phenomenal. Sangoku does pretty well against this because they are able to make the bonk boys, and the bonk boys are just men-at-arms that do percentage damage. If you have any unit like a men-at-arm with double bases, they also do a little bit extra. So it makes sure that Sangoku is a pretty decent answer to this. But what would happen now is you would have to target fire as much as you can. You can see the spearmen, they go in, they pull back, and then these guys are going to focus fire on the archers as quickly as they can. Because at our rank, this is going to be all you can do. You need to find a way to pick off the units. Because these guys, they're annoying, but they're too expensive to mass. And if they've massed that much, that means you should be having a lot more units. So you can see with the micro here, I ignore this raider elephant, make sure that the spearmen are on it. So with this, he's aging up now. But he takes an engagement, because that's the thing about Tughlaq. They are going to be a little bit greedy. And the moment this happens is the moment, again, you get more breathing room. Now he's just aged up, and I'm able to pick off all these units. What would be better is if you keep target firing all his archers. And very quickly, you can pick off the units all around. So now, all of a sudden, his army is not going to be able to do anything, and I've won the game from here on out. I get 1 bonk boy, and that's what I wanted to show you guys. This was not an answer I used earlier. I only had spears and archers, and I was able to defeat this. This guy is great in feudal, but with other civilizations, you can do exactly the same with spears and archers. So, you can see here I'm trying to transition. These farms are dead, as we see. They are outside the TC range, and that is going to be a weak point for myself. Now I'm trying to get to castle, but aside from this, this is all you needed to see. You just need to survive in feudal. If he still makes units, you can keep making spears. In my case, I have the bonk boys, but I'm still making spears because spears are just good enough for this. You just need to make sure that you target fire. As long as you target fire, you will be okay. I make a tower here as well, just because I want my villagers to have a slot to garrison in. Because I know I'm going to need every bit of garrison spot I can find. And the Tughlaq dynasty doesn't have something they can make that makes this a lot better. They are going to really struggle with this. I also don't have my Yumi upgrade. And this is not because I wanted to show you guys this, but rather because I forgot. But if you are a normal civilization, these things are now just going to be like archers. And you can see how well they have done. So, this is what you need to keep in mind against them. But let's quickly go look at another match as well. Now, I could have done this from the pro games, and that would have been perfectly fine, but, pro players can play a lot better than we can. And I say we, as in everyone who's Conqueror, like 2-ish and under. We are all trash. So, for you to be able to beat this, I think gold and under, you are going to struggle immensely because the micro is not there yet. And that's okay. But what you need to be able to do is survive feudal and micro. So that's perfectly... It's fine to lose this. And I want to reiterate that. That is so fine to lose this because it's such a hard matchup. Okay. Now, starting out. Again, Sangoku. But what I want you to see is my Matsuri is a little bit further away. This is very risky. The only reason I did this is because I had a woodline here that I could potentially wall off. Now, when you're playing against the Tughlaq dynasty, another important thing to consider is with these elephants, they are going to be scouting around their base. When they make those early elephants, they will use them to do the routes around their base. So if you're a greedy scouter like I am, don't go behind their base. Their base is already going to be cleaned out by these little scouter elephants. So this is a very important thing to consider for you. Now, let's go back here. So with Sangoku, you're a little bit greedy. You get that little bit of food income by building the yatais. You see he scouts you here. When your scout sees his scout, you go the other direction. But what's important is you try and find the sheep where he wouldn't have been by now. Again, with Sangoku, I'm only going for 2 yatai. And then I need to think about, okay, I need to age up soon. And you can see I even idled out my TC like an animal. And it is what it is. Now remember what I said about building stuff outside your TC range? It's going to be dead. This farmhouse, it's dead. It's going to die pretty soon. But the reason I did this is because I was following a beastie build and I was like, they're close enough. So I get my Tawara upgrade and you can see the scouter elephant coming to see the things he can while our Mr. Tughlaq is aging up. So again, we have a healer elephant strategy. We see all of our villagers now getting ourselves to feudal age. So let's quickly get there. And Koka Township is the age up. But you can see I'm not rushing my age up. I'm only using 4 villagers because the healer elephant is so expensive and it takes so long to train. It doesn't matter. I still have the time to age up. So that's perfectly fine. With this, I have enough time to get all the resources I need. So we keep chopping wood. I get another yatai, which again, I'm not sure about. I think this could be a little bit greedy. If you go for this many yatais this early on, you potentially risk losing one of them without getting the reward back. But I go and scout, and because I didn't see any production buildings, I am just going to make barracks, because I know a barracks is going to deal with elephants a little bit better. So I get my barracks, and we see he makes a barracks as well. If you see him making a barracks, you make an archery range. So barracks and archery range, you make an archery range. Stable, you make a barracks. And then eventually an archery range. So the moment I see that, I make an archery range, finish my barracks, get my archery range, and now the production begins. Now I just get spearmen because I want to keep this thing occupied for as long as possible. So the first spear will go out and try to stop him. But you can see he's just making the healer elephants because that's the strategy. And I start making yumis, but I don't need to. I could just potentially go for more and more spears, especially when I don't know what's cooking here. Now he goes for a stable after this because he spots my archery range. He thinks I'm going to be investing a lot. And with my gold being this far out, it's already a very risky move. I don't want to be losing any wood because I'm going to need this. So we see this one healer elephant. What you want to do now is you want to kill it. This guy's isolated. You're going to be able to kill him in most cases. But hopefully your opponent is good enough to keep his second healer elephant close enough to be able to do so. So just keep making spears, make archers, just make units, and you will be okay. So now the second healer elephant joins, and all of a sudden, I can't chase him down anymore. I just get a few shinobis here, because I want to kill that scout of his, just so he can't see what's happening. Instantly rebuild my tower, and the reason I have this many on gold is because I know I'm not going to have gold for too long. Because Tughlaq, they're just a little bit better with this initially until I get enough units. So you can see I'm trying my best. While these are just healer elephants, I'm trying my best to shut at least one of them down. And if I do, I'm going to be in a really good spot. But if I don't, then you risk losing it all. So So we can see, again, I'm just trying to focus fire one. I realize, hey, his units are arriving. This is not going to work for me. So I still have a lot on gold because I'm trying to get every upgrade I can afford to just try and fight this. I make archers, I make spears, and this is the one instance I've decided, let's go for a few more bonk boys early on. They're very, very expensive, so this is not something you want to make first. You need to make a lot of cheap units initially. So with these guys, as you can see, 4 healer elephants is going to be too much for me to handle with all of this. And because I don't have enough archers, I cannot snipe these out. So this puts me in a very weird position. I should have gone for a double archery range and made more archers here. But you can see, I'm just trying to keep them as engaged as possible. And the moment one of these guys step out, I try to snipe them. But again, ideally, once you have enough archers, you want to be focusing on the archers instead. So you can see, now all attention focused on the archer the moment I can. I realize I'm not going to kill this archer. So I go straight for the healer elephant with the spears and the bonk boys. But you could just do this with spears as well. He doesn't have enough archers to make this unviable yet. Then I go for the next unit here, trying to take it down. Because again, the healer elephants are annoying, but they're not going to kill your whole army. So pull back, keep making units. Constantly. Second archery range is now added. I slowly add in farms because I overchopped on the wood and I don't have enough food at all. I try to get the tower reinforced as well just to help with the shots. But investing in this could cost you the game because you want to use that stone to get your Yumi archers upgraded to actually handle this if you're playing Sangoku. So constantly just trying to pick off the units the moment they are out of position. And this will work for you. This will work anywhere under, I would say, Conk 1. It will work pretty well, but you need to be better than your opponent. This is, right now, I feel like this is the one matchup where if you make a mistake, you really struggle to come back. And you can see with these archers, the moment the healer elephants are out of the question, I can just start picking off units. And here I lose focus. I'm focused on these guys. And this guy kills a lot of my archers. But at the same time, every elephant I kill is massive for me. The bonk boy is just going to focus on the raider elephants. And with your Yumi archers, you want to be picking off the other archers here as well. The reason you make the Yumi archers is because they're so cheap. And you can just have more archers than he would. Because his archers are more expensive. But you can see, at some point I make a mistake. I lose some units, I summon my shinobis to try and slow this down, and I pick off the other healer elephant. And this was 2 games in a row of Tughlaq Dynasty, and both of them I won by just making the right units and constantly looking for his weak points. What could I do better? I could be raiding on the map. I could be doing this. So this is what I eventually start doing when I realize, okay, I've pushed him off. Now what? And when you don't push him off, you're probably gonna be panicking completely, but this is why you need to expose your opponent's mistakes, because your opponent, under Conk 3, high Conk 3, they're not gonna be, they're gonna make mistakes, and that's how you have to catch them. But yeah, that's basically it. Sangoku, for me, works really well against this, that's why I've been playing them so much as well. But I'm gonna do the same with English and HRE most likely. I just want to see what works. So, yeah, that is basically the answer. And with HRE, I think your men-at-arms, just not making them your main composition. You still need spearmen as your main and archers, but with men-at-arms, you can actually deal with this civilization pretty well by just mixing in 2 or 3. Because those 2 or 3 are going to ensure that his archers are kept busy, and you can just pick off his. So, have I faced the Tughlaq Fort Rush? Yes, just make units. And if you have units and Yumis, you can also snipe the villagers as they're building it. But if you mean Fort Rush in his base, then you can just go for castle yourself, because they're not going to have enough units. Or you can go and kill the fort, both of which are fine. Because the fort is not that strong in general. It's annoying, it's also just the cheese. It's like a White Tower Rush. It's annoying, but you can kill it. Could you just use English, take the archer age up and build a barracks? You could, but what makes English so good for this is the king, because that king is going to be the guy who will run around and harass this. So, because you get a mobile unit and you get the Abbey of Kings, which means that all your units are going to heal up in base. So I think English, you still want to go for the king age up, just because you want to be able to heal your units in your base. And you can see again, just like the previous game, the moment he ages up, I also say to myself, okay, it's time for me to age up too. Because this guy was a little bit smarter than the previous one. He's making men-at-arms. Because men-at-arms, I don't have an answer to. The bonk boys are going to do well, but they're so expensive. I just cannot afford or justify to do that. So I need to be able to get my upgrades to be able to handle this. And from there on, you can respond.